Well, definitely the low interest rates have helped in the beginning. But there is a moment in time, like you see in the US right now, that situation should change. And as you know, the ECB is talking about that as well. So if there would be a new crisis today, indeed, they would not have a lot of ammunition. But I'm not overly pessimistic about the economy. But you're right, at this moment in time, they have used all their material, more or less.
And when you talk about not being overly pessimistic, do you think perhaps too much pessimism is hanging over markets, hanging over business sentiment today?
It's quite gloomy compared to last year, and sometimes these things go from one end to another specter. Looking at the US, I think Mr. Trump, President Trump, wants to be re-elected next year, so I think he will strike a deal somewhere down the road this year. China is deleveraging last year a lot, but they are putting a lot of effort now to have growth up again. And I think in Europe, if you look at Germany, of course, last quarter was very bad, very much related to cars, 20-30% lower car production. And that, I would say, is not something I expect to continue this year. So in that sense, I'm not overly... Lower growth, of course, this year, no doubt.
Yep.
But I'm not overly pessimistic in the sense of crisis or something.
And what does this outlook mean for ABN Amro? Because you, of course, have been positioning yourself more towards the domestic market, away from international capital markets. In light of all that headline risk out there that is affecting global risk sentiment, do you feel vindicated here already, or does more work need to be done in that transition?
Yeah, I think indeed, if you look at the Netherlands, for instance, we're doing relatively well. But of course, we are close to Germany, so for us, it's a big exporter. So it's for us an important country that Germany does well and Europe does well. But all in all, I would say for our bank, we have still the 10 to 13 returns we make during the crisis. Even as a result, with the low interest rates, we managed to deal with that.
Can you give investors a better idea of the dividend plan going forward then?
Well, we're still 56% government owned, so we have to sell down further, or the Ministry of Finance has to sell down further. And indeed, dividend we will decide in the coming months.
Are you optimistic that you can sell down that stake further this year, and by how much?
Yeah, well, the plan, how much, is something to decide at the ministry. But my hope and also actually my expectation is that we're going to further sell down this year. Of course, if stock exchange goes mad, then not. But that's not what I expect.
Speaking of the government, or perhaps more the central bank in your country, there's been more scrutiny around concerns about money laundering, concerns after ING specifically that perhaps the sector is not doing enough. Are you confident that you are doing enough in this regard? Well,
we have around, we're a bank of 25,000 people. 1,000 people are working on this. So we do our utmost. It's always difficult with money laundering, but we do our utmost to look at all the transactions, to look at all your clients, because it is your license to operate. We know that making money is nice, banking for better for the world is good, but if you lose your license to operate, so you need to have this fixed. Yeah.